What's up guys, it's Dave from Military to Millionaire, bringing you another awesome video. Today we are going to talk about something that will make or break your business, and that is your real estate team. Alright guys, so as we get started in developing your team, this is what's made me successful as far as investing long distance and just investing in general. So there's a lot of different members of your team and a lot of potential members of your team. The core four, which David Green talks about as being the most important, are your deal finder, your property management, your lender, and your contractor. And we're going to talk very deeply about these four individuals and kind of how to find them and what I would recommend when looking for one. And then we'll also touch on a few others. So the first one is deal finder. Now, deal finder is most commonly a realtor, and having my real estate license, I'm not going to talk you out of that, but I would definitely say that you need to be cautious of who you use as your realtor, because not any realtor is going to work with an investor. You need to find somebody who's willing to write potentially lowball offers and who's willing to write potentially embarrassingly low offers, and somebody who's willing to write a lot of offers, because the reality is that as an investor, probably about 1 in every 10 offers that you write will actually get accepted. And that's okay, because if every offer you wrote got accepted, you wouldn't be finding deals, you would just be buying houses, which would not really separate you at all from the normal home buyer. So it's important that you get good deals, which means that you probably shouldn't get more than like 10% of your offers accepted. But you need to find an agent who's okay with that, because there's a lot of offers and a lot of paperwork and a lot of stuff like that. So for me personally, I invest a lot in an area where it's okay that it's not so hot, so my agent can just pick up the phone, call, and do like a verbal offer and say, hey, Dave's thinking XYZ. Do you think your client will go for it? Yes? Oh, okay, cool, I'll send an offer. No? Okay, cool, we won't waste our time. And that's that, right? And she is awesome. And she's written, tons of deal contracts for me. And she's also done a lot of verbals, and the verbals have saved her a ton of time. And then they also save me a ton of time, and they save everyone a ton of time and headaches. So definitely understand that you need an agent who you need to be upfront with them about what you're expecting. Now, some agents love investors because they know that you as the one person will bring just a ton of different business, right? Like you're going to keep buying properties, assuming that they find you good deals. The more good deals they find, the more properties you're going to be able to buy. It's a win-win. It's a very symbiotic relationship, because if they find you a better deal, you can afford to buy the next one sooner. So just everyone's helping everyone out. Now, another deal finder is wholesalers, and I wrote a whole blog post about this and a video about this, but just, you can find wholesalers by going to meetups and networking, which is huge, referrals, and then you can also find a wholesaler just by calling the letters. You might get a letter saying, I want to buy your house. Call them, reach out to them, get on their buyers list. So wholesalers are awesome because they've already found discounted deals, and yeah, you're paying them a split for their work, but it's still probably a better deal than you'd get on the MLS. Oh, I forgot to mention this. What worked for me when finding a realtor was that I found like 10 different properties that I wanted to look at in my area, and I just sent the seller's agent a message, a pretty generic email about all 10 properties for every agent for all 10 properties. And of that, there were like 2 or 3 who responded to me quickly, and then of that, there was one who got me everything I needed immediately. And that's the one I chose to use to then be my buyer's agent for a lot of stuff, and it just worked out. That was my quick and easy way to find one. But you can also do Google. You can search for the top agents. There's just a lot of different ways to find top agents, and referral is a great method as well. After deal finder comes your property manager. Now this is the one that makes or breaks a lot of people. So for me, I took like 4 or 5 different posts and of like questions you should ask your property manager, and consolidated them all down into a list, and it was a pretty lengthy list. And I basically went and interviewed property managers. Yes, you are interviewing them. They are not interviewing you. So you need to make sure that you remember that. So I went to this one, and the guy was awesome. The place looked great. He gave me a tour of his facility. It was beautiful. Knew what he was doing. Everyone was nicely dressed. Everyone was super friendly. But as I dug through, I took a contract home. I asked them. They might not always give you one. I took a contract home as far as what he and I would be working on, and I penned through that. And it was going to be like 10% of gross rent, which isn't terrible. But then I was going to get paid. I was going to be paying that even if it wasn't rented. No. Where's your incentive to rent the place out if you're getting paid when it's vacant? That's not good. And then a lot of hidden fees, like he wanted the whole first month's rent, stuff like that. Well, fast forward now, because I was smart enough to, or lucky enough, depending on how you look at it, to interview a couple different property managers. I now have one who is 7% gross, and doesn't charge me when it's vacant, and doesn't really charge me anything up front when they, to rent the place, other than obviously marketing and stuff like that. And she has an awesome staff, and honestly, most of my staff from that has been referral. Like, she hired my new manager in my big building. She did the entire hiring process, sent me 3 different resumes, told me what she thought of the interviews, and then told me, asked me what I thought. And when I gave her an answer, she's like, "Great, I already told him he was hired." I'm like, "Awesome, thanks." So definitely an investment there. And then, just tons of other stuff. She makes my life so easy. So finding a good property manager, ask the right questions. Now, I'm going to probably build out like a small post about those questions that I asked. And I'll be sure to get that out to you guys, because that's that made my experience amazing. All right, so for contractors, I'm not a pro because I kind of lucked out that I recruited in the area that I invest. So I have a bunch of friends, and some of those guys are contractors. Like, I have a friend who is a very, very, very high-end contractor, and he's actually already gotten busy enough that, it's not sure that he's going to be able to handle all my work. But he'll do a lot of stuff for me, not at cost, but like if I call him about a certain project and he has all the materials left over from another deal, he'll charge me almost nothing for that, and I'll get a discounted price with great work. Awesome stand-up guy. Now, here's the problem, though, is when you get good contractors, as I said, he's already super busy, it becomes hard for you to work with them because they're so good that they get too much business, and then, either they can't find good help, or, they don't want to grow too big, and all of a sudden you got to wait. Or if they get busy, they'll raise their rates, and then now you don't have to wait, but it might be more expensive than you want for a fix and flip. So you're stuck with a guy who doesn't have as much business because either he's not as good or very new. So one trick that I've heard, and this is what I plan on using when I go back to find other guys, aside from just referrals from him, because he's given me some solid referrals when he's too busy, which again goes back to the being a decent person thing. But if you drive by Home Depot and Lowe's before it opens, like 5-10 minutes before it opens, and you see what contractors' trucks are already in the parking lot, that tells me 2 things. One, they're going to be at my property early and they're ready to work. They're not sleeping until 9 or 10, which in Hawaii is a common thing because they're going surfing in the morning, right? And 2, they already know what materials they need. So they planned out the night prior, hey, this is what I'm going to need for the deal tomorrow, and they're doing that. And then they're getting your stuff and they're going to your project. They're starting to work early. There are contractors out there who go to your property and then, oh yeah, we need this, and then go to Home Depot and then, oh, okay, we need this. And like, no, they're wasting your time and probably your money. So I love that trick, and that's probably what I'm going to use, is just drive by Home Depot, Lowe's, and take note of the contractors that are already there working, and then go from there. All right, the lenders. So I use a couple different brokers. One thing I would suggest is if you're investing local, check out the app ICBA. I don't remember what it stands for, but it's a small app. You download it on your phone, ICBA, and then it's just got one little search block, and it says zip code. And you type in your zip code, and it'll show you all the community banks in the area. And these guys will often give you much better rates than national banks because they're smaller business. For one, you can walk in and talk to them in person and actually like make an impression and have like a networking connection and get to know them. But for 2, they're also smaller, so they can have a little more flexibility with loans because they can make the decision in-house and actually handle their own stuff rather than sending off to some corporate office who you're just a piece of paper, you're not a name or a face, Another thing I would do is just referrals, right? Your agent, your property manager, they all probably know decent lenders. And so I have 2 brokers that I can go to in Missouri, depending on what kind of loan residential I'm going with. And then from ICBA, I found a great commercial lender who does awesome work for me. And that's the guy I use for anything commercial. Through my job in the military and traveling around, I've actually met a lot of great VA lenders. And so I've kind of lucked out where, depending on where I go, like I have a great lender in Hawaii, a great lender in California, a great lender in North Carolina. So a lot of these military installations, I know people who are loan officers that specialize with VA and military relocation. So, side note, if you're looking to do a VA loan in that area, just, shoot me a message and I can probably help you out with finding a lender who actually understands some of our unique VA loan requirements and abilities, because there's a lot to it that most people don't get. Again, finding a lender, referrals, and research. So one benefit to having a lender on your actual team is that that lender is going to know like your specific criteria, but also your specific financial information. So they can help you strengthen yourself as far as being easy to pre-approve and helping you to strengthen your lending, your borrowing capability So having a lender on your team is an awesome win because they can help you with your financial status to, ensure you qualify for more loans. If they can help you with that and they know it and they work with you, there's a very good chance you can get a little bit of a lower rate or some better terms, and just a little bit of, saving a little bit on that interest rate adds up very quickly when you're buying multiple properties. And that's a very quick way to help your cash flow out, is getting better rates on your loans. So food for thought, get a good lender. All right, so bonus team members. I say bonus because they're not the core four, but these guys can be just as valuable. So your insurance agent is one. Unfortunately, I haven't found some hack to find the best insurance agent. I did find this guy via referral, but I found a whole bunch of other guys that I don't go with anymore via referral. And I honestly think the best way to do that is to shop around. So I had like 3, 4, 5 different referrals on agents, and really it's just whoever people use. And I shopped around, and I finally found one guy who the rates are a little bit better, and he's friendly, and he actually invests a little bit on his own. So he's great, but there wasn't some magical trick to finding him. It was just getting quotes from different guys and going with what I liked. The lawyer, the dreaded lawyer, which there's a chance I'm going to need here soon with my big property. Honestly, I use my property managers. They have a lawyer that does everything for them, and unless I have some issue with them, I'm not really going to need to branch off. So I just go through them and their lawyer right now because, again, I trust her recommendation. But lawyers are good for drafting up LLCs, drafting up landlord forms, although BiggerPockets Pro, you get landlord forms for free. So I don't actually have a personal lawyer because I got all my stuff taken care of either through my property manager or through BiggerPockets Pro landlording forms. So definitely check that out. I'll put a link down below as always. And then just, being familiar with what you need a lawyer for, because it might sneak up on you. So I have a couple names of good lawyers, but I don't actively employ any of them because I haven't needed it yet. I just work with them in case, but always good to make sure, have people lined up before you need it rather than when you need it. All right, the last two are your home inspector and your appraiser. So home inspector is not really super important as far as having on your team member. Your escrow company, your realtor, they'll all be able to walk you through this and find one for every transaction. And I mean, as long as it's a approved inspector, they'll probably catch whatever you want. However, I have found one that I like and I will continue to use, and that is solely because when I was walking property with him, as opposed to some of the other guys, he would point out everything and kind of use it as teaching points. So he would show me what he looks for, why he looks for it, why it matters, if it's worth fixing, things that he was going to mark as repair that may not need to be repaired or definitely needed it. He would prioritize for me. So he taught me a lot, which to me that's just invaluable. And then for the home appraiser, there's a lot of regulations as far as like I can't be like best buddies with my appraiser who's going to like jack the price value of my building. I'm sure there's all kinds of rules and regulations with that. But getting out there and networking with some appraisers, it definitely cannot hurt to be on good terms with the appraisers in your area, right? If they like you, they're not going to like just totally ruin the value of your property for no reason. Not that they would do that anyway, but going back to being a good person can't hurt to be friends with, and good people with appraisers, right? Okay, in closing, the importance of having a good team. It allows me to sleep at night, right? Like I can enjoy myself. If I go away for a week, I know that my business is not going to fall apart. I can send a call, a text, or an email to ask a question and have a response very quickly, or to answer, or give some guidance if I have a thought about something. Like, for example, we're going to break the lease here on someone this week, and I'm able to say, hey, let's break the lease, and then I'll just get an update when it's all said and done, right? Like I'll get a phone call if there's an issue that they can't handle, but most of the time my phone calls or texts are just, hey, this happened, here's how we handled it, which is just huge because A, I can't make the mistakes that I would have made had I been managing myself, because some of this stuff would have been really ugly if I tried to figure it out on my own. B, it's already handled, so I don't have to stress about it, right? Like, why worry about something that already happened? And C, or tree, having a team's awesome, so I don't really need another reason, right? Like, just have a team. Find rock stars, as they say. Find solid team members who can help you grow as a business, help you scale as a business, and keep you not stressing about all the details, but thinking big picture. And that's how you grow. So that's why I think that a team is super important. I'm also going to write a blog post on this with a little bit more detail and some links to some good material. So check that out. Link will be in the show notes. And then, yeah, go ahead and like and subscribe as always. And guys, share the video if you learned something. Help us grow the YouTube channel so that we can afford to make more content and spend more time on this. If it's working, let us know. Please put some comments, show some love. Thanks, guys.